People in parts of Tennessee are just now starting to assess the damage after an intense storm system swept through parts of the state Saturday. 6 people were killed, including a child. Thanks so much for joining us here at 6:30. I'm Alex Dieterer. That system is now sweeping east, leaving tens of millions of Americans in the path of drenching rains and potential flooding. ABC's Rena Roy has the details.
This weekend, reports of at least 26 tornadoes across 4 states: Alabama, Mississippi, Kentucky, and Tennessee.
That is fire.
In Madison, Tennessee, this fireball erupting as a tornado tore a path of destruction. Residents now assessing the devastation left behind. Drone video from Clarksville in Montgomery County clearly shows the damage. Roofs ripped off, others just torn apart. Trees uprooted, power lines down, thousands waking up Sunday without power.
There's a house gone right here.
Other homes still standing but severely damaged.
It's devastating for this community. There's going to be a lot of work to do.
The Underwood family was inside one of those homes.
I put all my kids into the bathtub, and then he said he could see it, and he ran down and grabbed a mattress, and we took cover until it was kind of over.
An emergency shelter has been set up at a local high school.
Right now, we're just trying to be with all those people who have lost so much, just trying to work with all those first responders and volunteers. And being here in a military community, volunteers is no shortage.
That same weather system sweeping to the east on Sunday.
We start to see this storm kick in a high gear for the Northeast. The I-95 corridor facing very heavy rain.
A confirmed tornado passing through a Raleigh, North Carolina suburb on Sunday, while more than 50 million people across the Northeast are under a flood threat through Sunday night. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Crews from the National Weather Service Louisville were also down in Logan County today. They were surveying damage from the storms that rolled through. They say preliminary reports are that an EF2 tornado with wind speeds of about 115 miles per hour were on the ground. Officials say the tornado was on the ground in Logan County for about 18 miles, and officials say it appears that the tornado is connected to the one that touched down in Clarksville, Tennessee. 2 years ago today, a tornado outbreak ripped through western Kentucky. More than 80 Kentuckians were killed, but the state was changed forever. The hardest hit areas were Mayfield, Dawson Springs, and Bowling Green. Multiple tornadoes touched down in Kentucky that night, ranging in intensity from EF1 to EF4. According to the National Weather Service, the tornado that hit Mayfield traveled more than 160 miles just in Kentucky alone. WHAS11 was on air that night for 10 straight hours, tracking several of the touchdowns. Our meteorologist Alden German was working that night, and he says it was the worst case scenario because the storm struck in the middle of the night.
Once we started seeing the damage that was coming out of Mayfield, and we were seeing the initial death reports, that it really hit us of, oh, this is going to be one of those nights. This is going to be a night that, impacts a generation from people that they're going to talk about 20, 30, 50 years from now.
As a result of the devastation 2 years ago, more than $800 million in federal and state funds have gone to relief efforts in the area. We now know the name of the 2 people killed on Breckenridge Lane near the Klondike neighborhood Friday. 28-year-old Rashawn Holloway and 27-year-old Troy Young were found dead inside a car outside an apartment building Friday. Police say both of the men had been shot. Anyone with information is encouraged to call the anonymous tip line at 574-LMPD. And it seems Abraham Lincoln has lost his hat. The iconic statue, which has sat at the waterfront park for years, has been vandalized. The hat, which normally sits right next to the statue of Abraham Lincoln sitting on the rock, was seemingly pried off and stolen. The statue has been in its spot since 2009. We spoke with President of Waterfront Park, who says they're disappointed with the theft.
It's a real shame and a disgrace that this occurred, particularly at this very significant sculpture. And we see very little theft and vandalism in Waterfront Park, and really very low crime overall. And this particular area of the park has always been an area that people have just revered and have not disturbed and have honored.
She says the park will work closely with LMPD to find who is responsible. We also reached out to the sculptor Ed Hamilton, who said in part, quote, "We may have to rethink how we can make public art less able to be damaged and make it harder for the thieves in the night. I don't have all the answers, so I guess we were lucky to have it survive over 15 years since it was dedicated," end quote. He then goes on to say he hopes he still has the mold of the hat so he can recast another one to fix the statue. Former Kentucky Governor and State Representative Julian Carroll died today. Carroll's family confirmed his death early this morning at Frankfort Regional Medical Center. According to a post from the family, Carroll dedicated almost 2/3 of his life to serving people in the Commonwealth. He served 5 terms in the Kentucky House of Representatives, including Speaker of the House. He was then elected Lieutenant Governor, eventually succeeding Wendell Ford. He won a full term as governor in 1975. Carroll would later serve as state senator from 2004 to 2020. He leaves behind 4 children, 7 grandchildren, and 3 great-grandchildren. Carroll was 92. Across the bridge, drivers in New Albany may have noticed a new sign in search of a kidney. The sign is placed in a homeowner's yard on Charlestown Road in New Albany near the Christ's Community Church of the Nazarene. The sign is requesting a new kidney for the daughter of Hazel Smith Moyer, Sherry. Family tells us today they're just trying to do anything they can to help their daughter.
She's been a diabetic for a long time, and her kidneys, she needs to replace the kidney. And any way that I can get it done, I would do it. If I was young enough to do it, she'd have one of mine.
Tonight on the Night Team, we're hearing from more of the family and how you can help. A new report from the Wall Street Journal is now showing that Cigna has called off the massive merger with Louisville-based Humana. The 2 large health insurance companies could not come to an agreement on price and other financial terms. That's according to the report. The Wall Street Journal had reported that Cigna would have been acquiring Humana in a cash and stock transaction. However, the new report indicates shareholders reacted coolly, with Cigna stock dropping 10% since the news broke. We reached out to both Humana and Cigna for comment on the news today. Humana did tell us they did not have a comment.